And I will now give the floor to Ms. Jenna Russo.
Good morning, Excellencies. Thank you, Mr. President, for inviting the International Peace Institute to participate in today's discussion on advancing adaptability in UN peace operations. It is a pleasure to be here and to speak today on a topic that is at the core of IPI's work. Nearly 80 years ago, the UN was founded first and foremost as an organization for the maintenance of peace, and UN peace operations have been a flagship tool to achieve this aim. Over the decades, UN missions have succeeded more often than not in multiple regions of the world, including operations in El Salvador, Mozambique, Sierra Leone, Namibia, Colombia, Cambodia, Timor-Leste, and elsewhere. And even in cases where missions have not fully implemented their mandates, so-called failures have often more to do with the severity of the context rather than the failure of the tool itself. Yet, as we look at the world today, some may wonder if the UN has lost its way as a peace organization, unable to address some of the world's largest crises, including in some contexts where there are missions deployed. The fact that peace operations are effective is one of the most verified findings in international relations literature, which shows that UN peace operations can shorten the duration of conflict, strengthen the durability of peace, prevent spillover into neighboring countries, and protect civilians from violence. Yet there is often a dissonance between these findings and the lived experiences of those in conflict settings. Peace operations are not a perfect tool, but they are one of the best collective security measures that we have, and the UN's role in leading and backstopping missions is indispensable. To that end, I'd like to briefly touch on 4 recommendations for the consideration of the Council and the Secretary General on how the UN can advance peace operations that are fit to address current and emerging crises. First, there is a need to return to a stronger planning culture within the UN Secretariat. This has been recommended in multiple landmark peace operations reviews and was identified in the recent DPO independent study as a key capacity needed to support new models in the future of peace operations. The Secretary General's UN 2.0 Quintet of Change identifies that a culture of foresight is needed to equip the organization with the capacities needed to discern emerging trends, anticipate potential shifts, and respond proactively. Under Chapter 15 of the Charter, and as a principal organ of the United Nations, there is nothing that precludes the Secretariat from undertaking advanced planning without receiving instruction from the Security Council. However, bureaucratic and political barriers have kept this culture of planning from taking root within the Secretariat's work on peace operations. To enable the type of innovative and flexible respondings that today's conflicts require, the UN needs more than just greater planning capacity. Officials should also engage in regular scenario planning and be encouraged to take risks and put forward new ideas. This requires a cultural shift to ensure that moments of crisis are not responded to with usual ways of thinking and templated approaches. This cultural shift will not only help facilitate more tailored responses when new mission deployments are required, but will also help current missions better adapt throughout their life cycle. Second, and relatedly, the UN must embrace a risk-tolerant culture around peace operations. In my work as a researcher, time and again I hear from peacekeepers that they are afraid to take risks and make mistakes. And recent crises have only entrenched this mentality, as peacekeepers often feel the best they can do is keep their heads down and not make waves. Personnel are structurally disincentivized from trying new things and reporting what doesn't work in the field for fear that their budgets and jobs may suffer the consequences. New and innovative ways of working require courage and a culture that creates space for trying and even failing with the aim of learning and improving. And this culture must come from the top, both within the Secretariat and from member states. Third, while mission planning and innovation cannot ignore political realities, neither should the Secretariat self-censor options that appear politically unfeasible. 25 years ago, the Brahimi Report noted that the Secretariat should tell the Council what it needs to hear, not what it wants to hear. However, because political space within the Council has become so constrained, there is a risk that the Secretariat censors itself and preemptively lowers the bar on what is possible. Instead, it should present a wide range of options to the Council and leave it to the Council to adjust the bar if it is unable to overcome its political divisions. Contexts like Sudan, Haiti, and elsewhere require bold ideas, and the people in those countries deserve ambitious action. Fourth, the Council should consider both the advantages and the risks that come with pursuing a modular approach to peace operations. Under a modular approach, mandated sets of activities like electoral support, human rights monitoring, or security sector reform are treated like building blocks that can be scaled up or down over the lifespan of a mission. It also invites the participation of a wider set of actors, with the UN country team, for example, leading peace-building activities while the mission focuses on a narrower set of peacekeeping tasks. This approach offers advantages by promoting more tailored responses to individual contexts, aligning mandates with the resources available, and potentially easing some of the political barriers within the Council and with the host state to achieve consent. It could also alleviate the cliff that comes with mission transitions by scaling down some peacekeeping tasks, even as other peace-building activities remain ongoing. At the same time, there are risks to consider. While it's true that some tasks within multidimensional mandates may be added at the behest of Council members, they are also included at a recognition that consolidating peace requires more than signing a peace agreement or holding elections. Even setting aside a normative commitment to people-centered approaches, there is a plethora of evidence on the importance of improving state-society relations, supporting community-level processes, and protecting civilians in consolidating peace. While the goal of a modular approach is not to ignore these broader peace-building aspects, there is a risk that they could fall by the wayside if the Council or host states view them as optional. Again, to be clear, these activities are not simply nice to have, they are necessary to build sustainable peace. To close, I'd like to say a word on the review of the future of all forms of peace operations as called for in the Pact for the Future. While the Secretariat will play a key leading role in carrying out this request from member states, stakeholders outside of the UN also have a crucial role to play. Civil society organizations and those living in current or former peace operations contexts have a unique added value in reflecting on what works and what doesn't work, and their views should be included as part of a people-centered approach. Further, academics and other experts have built up a substantial body of knowledge on UN peace operations, and their perspectives can complement the internal view to provide a broader reflection on the opportunities and challenges facing UN-led operations. To that end, IPI, along with other civil society organizations, is calling for an inside-outside approach that draws on the substantial expertise of a broad, cross-regional group of academic civil society organizations and independent experts. The role of the Third UN has always been important in promoting new ideas and holding the UN accountable for its performance, and we view this role as integral to the review on peace operations. Thus, we call on the Secretary General and member states to recognize this role and facilitate the substantive inclusion of third UN actors in the review process in partnership with the Secretariat. Our world is in need of a strong and inclusive UN, able to act as a global leader in peace. It requires bold leadership, clear vision, and ambitious thinking. This is not an easy task. However, the fact that it is difficult is indicative of its importance. Thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me to share my thoughts.
Thank you. I thank Ms. Russo for her briefing, and I will now make a statement in my capacity as Minister for Foreign Affairs of Denmark.